to talk a little bit about work. It used to be for me, like I'm sure it is for a lot of people, man, woman, whatever. Work is used to be how I defined myself, what I did. You know, how much money I made. How dedicated I was. I used to, you know, look at how many hours I work. Look at what I do. Look at all the extra things I do. Look at this, look at that, look at me, look at me. And, not that there's anything inherently wrong with being dedicated to your job, but something I've learned over the last couple of years is a job is just that. It's just a job. It's a means to an end. And, if you're lucky enough to enjoy your job, that's great. But the fact remains is there is so much more important than a job. And I don't define myself by a job or what I do. What I do for a living is take care of my family, provide for my family. And that's all a job is. And if you got a family at home, if your job, in my opinion, if your job is anything more than that, then, at least for me, my priorities were way out of whack. And you just have to realize that, the cliche of spending as much time with your kids when they're little and as they're growing, because they grow so fast, and before you know it, it's over. And that's true. I tell people all the time, I feel like it was just the other day we brought my boy home from the hospital, and now he'll be 4 in 5 months, less than 5 months. And my daughter will be 2 in 6 months, exactly 6 months from today, she'll be 2. And it flew by. And I'm just thankful that I didn't waste any more time than I absolutely had to at a job. Because I heard somewhere, or read somewhere, I can't remember, that your kids are never going to remember what you did for them. They're going to remember what you did with them. And that's true. Having grown up in an environment where there were a lot of times where one or the other of my mom or dad couldn't make it or wasn't there. And, for the major things, yeah, they were there. The graduations, if whatever sports team I was on made it to a championship game, they were there. But it was the little things along the way that get missed, when you're outside playing by yourself, when your parents are inside and they just want you to go outside and leave them alone. And to a degree, I get that thinking. There's sometimes I need a break, but I can have a break, years from now. And I try to soak up as much time and as much experience with them as I can. I used to be the type that never called in sick, never took personal time, even a few minutes here or there. And now I really don't think twice about it. I try not to abuse it, but I try to think about the fact that, my boy is only going to be 3.5 once, and my daughter's only going to be 1.5 once. And I want some memories. And in today's age where we can record everything and get instantaneous pictures and video, these are things that last forever. These are the things that they're going to remember. These are the things that they're going to share with their kids, my grandkids, that they're going to share with their friends and their future spouses. Those are the things that are going to matter. They're not going to talk about, my dad worked so many hours and my dad put in so much overtime, and isn't that great? I got to get this special toy because my dad put in a few extra hours. He's going to talk about, I remember the time my dad took a day off of work and took us to the zoo. Those are the things that really matter. Spending time with your family, spending time with your kids. Your job is just something that unfortunately we all have to do to pay our bills. If we don't pay our bills, then we cannot provide for our family. And that's all I do. That's all my job is to me. I do take it seriously, and I do try to be proficient and be as professional as possible, and try to excel at it if at all possible. But not to be callous or anything or sound flippant, but I am there for the paycheck and the benefits, and that is all. And the only thing that matters to me is being as safe as possible, so that at 3:30 every day I can go home and I can kiss my wife, and I can hug and kiss my kids, and I can tell them I love them, and I can spend time with them, and I can enjoy that time with them. And I would never purport to judge anybody if they do anything any different, or they view their job any differently. But anybody who puts their job before their family, in my opinion, has to take a really long, hard look at how their priorities are set up, and really reevaluate what really matters. And does it really matter how big the house is? Does it really matter how super fancy the cars are? Does it really matter how super fancy the toys are? Get the fanciest toy you can buy, give it to your kid, and what's going to end up happening? They're going to end up playing with the box. You got this $100 toy sitting there on the floor while they're playing with the box it came in. And I just thank God that He's brought me to a place where I've realized that, because there was a time, and unfortunately for her, she was the one that missed out. My wife missed out. We missed out on time together, on valuable quality time together, because I was so focused on my job. I always had my phone with me. I always was checking my emails. I was always taking the phone calls from work. I was traveling for work. I was just always going, and it was always focused on work. Every conversation we had was about work. Every conversation we had to do with what was going on at work, what I wished was going on at work. And don't get me wrong, me and my wife still talk about my days at work, but it's cursory, because it's the whole point of it is that I'm there to collect a paycheck. I put in an honest day's work. I can look my boss in the eye and tell her, I did an honest day's work for you. I've earned the money I made today. But that's all it is. I earned the money I made today. I'm going home. I'm not thinking about this place. I'm not dwelling on what happened or didn't happen. I'm going home to be with my family. And tomorrow morning, God willing, I get out of bed and I do it all over again. And that's all it is to me. It's a place I need to go to provide for my family. And as a man, that's a big part of my responsibility as the head of our house, is to do everything I can to provide for them. And that's what I do. But even bigger, in my opinion, even bigger part is to be present for my family. And that's what I try to live by. That's what I try to do every day, is to just be present. I need to be there. And so, like I said, I try to be as safe as possible to ensure that my little boy, my little girl, or my wife don't have to be without me. and that I come home every night safe, sound, and in a place mentally and emotionally and physically that I can give them the attention and the affection and the support they want and need. So I just pray that anybody out there that puts their job before their family really has a change of heart and wakes up and realizes the time that they're wasting by working instead of living with their family.